Most Canadians, they think this is impossible. They think if you don't have a down payment, that you're locked out of the market completely. But what if I told you that there are Canadians out there right now that borrowed their down payment to buy their house, and to think no one has ever told you this? Today I'm breaking down exactly how it works, when it makes sense, and when it can destroy your financial future. Because if you don't understand it properly, you'll become another statistic. What's up guys, this is Ennio Titarenko, and this is Don't Be a Statistic. Today, we're talking about something most banks will never explain properly: borrowing your down payment. So first, let's cover the basics. What are the minimum down payment requirements here in Canada? Well, that's going to be 5% on the first $500,000 in regards to a purchase price, 10% of the difference up to 1.5 million, and then over 1.5 million, that's minimum 20% down. Quick math, if you're buying a $750,000 property, that minimum down payment is going to be 50 grand, and that's 5% of the first 500K, and then 10% of the remaining 250K to get you a $50,000 minimum down payment. And traditionally, that money is going to come from your savings, investments, possibly a gift from your immediate family members, or even gifted equity in certain very specific situations. And you'll hear most people say, if you don't have that, you're not getting into the market, which isn't necessarily true. So here's the big reveal. You actually can legally borrow your down payment. A lot of lenders have a different way to put it, but it's also commonly known as the flex down payment program. It's allowed, it's done every day, but here's the catch. Just because it's allowed doesn't mean it should be done. So let's get into that. So at the end of the day, the only thing lenders really care about are if you can afford all of the debt at once. So seeing that you can sustain the mortgage payment, qualifying payment, stress test, as well as any in debt you've already incurred or will incur through this transaction. That is including any down payment proceeds you are thinking about borrowing. That could be from a home equity line of credit, that could be from a personal loan you go and take out, it also could be from a credit card. But the biggest focus is seeing that all of these liabilities fit within their qualifying ratios. In addition to the liabilities, things that also need to be factored are property taxes and heat for your prospective purchase. So simply put, if the math works, you're in. If the math doesn't work, you're out. So let's go over how different types of borrowed down payment affect your qualifying differently. Firstly, the home equity line of credit, or HELOC. So some lenders will just take the entire limit of your HELOC. So if you have a 300K limit and you only borrow 100,000 from it, they'll still take into account that 300,000. Other lenders will take into account what the balance is, not the limit. So there's a couple things to look at when you're even considering purchasing a home with an outstanding HELOC or utilizing it as your down payment. But regardless, to keep things simple, a home equity line of credit is factored as such. Either the balance or the limit is taken over a 30-year amortization at a prime plus 0.5% interest rate, and boom, that's going to give you the payment that's going to be factored into your qualifying. If you can support that payment, 2 thumbs up. If you can't, no bueno. Personal loans are a little bit more simple. They're going to come in with a fixed payment, probably amortized for like 7, 10 years, 5 years, and at a set interest rate. Personal loans will be factored at whatever their payment is. Whatever their payment is will be factored into qualifying. And again, if you can support that payment along with all the other things, 2 thumbs up. If not, no good. And yes, I have seen somebody utilize a credit card for down payment and closing costs, and that's going to be the most expensive type of debt you could utilize towards a down payment or closing costs. Lenders are going to take 3% of the balance on that credit card and factor that into qualifying. So if you have a $10,000 balance on your credit card, that's $300 that needs to be factored in monthly on your mortgage application. So if you're wondering when a borrowed down payment even makes sense, let me give you some scenarios. It really makes sense if you have super strong income, just got on a new job that's paying you really well, but you haven't had time to save or invest a lot of money. Maybe you make relatively good money and you have 0 debt, so you have the room to support a little bit of debt. Conclusively, the scenario that works best with a borrowed down payment is someone that makes really good money and might not have a lot in savings. Someone that can support a little extra debt and doesn't have a lot to bring to the table in terms of liquidity. In those cases, it can really help you get into the market sooner than having to save up for months, years. Especially if you find a property you really, really like. Saves you from waiting. So a borrowed down payment is a terrible idea, arguably not even possible if you're already stretched really thin, you have a lot of debt, don't make a lot of money. Overall, living outside of your means, not able to support more debt. If you're already struggling qualifying for the purchase price you're looking for, you're probably not going to be able to support a borrowed down payment. So just like everything else in the financial industry, borrowed down payment is not good or bad. It's a tool that has its place and can be utilized effectively to help people get into the market. In the right hands, it can build wealth. In the wrong hands, well, you probably won't even get that far. If you're thinking about this, don't live on guesswork. Reach out, let's get connected and build a strategy. I'll run the numbers, I'll show you what's possible, what works and what doesn't, and I'll let you know if it's a good or a bad idea. I'm Ennio Titarenko. Don't be a statistic, and I'll see you in the next one.